Sage Wanderer here, coming at you from my cabin down by the creek. So, I know lately my channel has been all about me and my drama, and I promise that I will not make this video about me and my drama. But having said that, I feel like she watches, and you do need to know something about me and her, is that there's a lot more to me and Catherine than meets the eye. Many of you wouldn't be so dismissive. Many of you wouldn't be so judgmental. Many of you wouldn't be so frustrated with me if you knew everything. And the fact is, I can't share everything because, a relationship's a private thing. But I wasn't just her boyfriend. I was her pastor. I was her mentor. She didn't just come to me as a woman. She came to me as a disciple. And that I cry more tears over, I think, than the breakup. I still think I can help her. And a lot of you are going to say, stop trying to help people, Sage. Well, that's like saying, stop being yourself, right? That's just who I am. I've tried to quit helping people. God won't let me. Now, I am one of the luckiest people in the world when I help people like I do, like I helped Susie, like I've helped Catherine, like I have a new person to help now, and this time, thank God, it's not a romantic interest that I'm helping, right? God gave me my next assignment, which is sad for me because I feel like he wouldn't have given my next assignment if I'd been released from my previous one. I don't usually multitask, right? I kind of went from being a pastor of hundreds of people to being a pastor of people, one or two at a time. I mean, sometimes like last summer, I had several people that I was helping at once. I don't mean giving them money or feeding them. I mean, I do that too. That's part of it. If that's what they need, a place to live. But I invest my time in them. I poured so much spirit into Catherine that I can't help but think that she's a better person. She's a better person because she knew me. And I guess that's what I'm waiting to hear. That she did benefit from all the energy. I don't know that she knew. People don't know what it takes to help people sort out their stuff. How much energy it takes to go to war for them in the spirit realm. It's draining. It's it's almost like, don't get me wrong, my well is not limited because it comes from heaven, right? My energy comes from God. This energy that's expelling from me when I help someone, it's not mine, it's God's, right? But it's almost like some situations can draw the energy out of you faster than it can come into you. And it's not that God can't, it's just that that's how the plumbing is, right? You can think about having a big hole in the bottom of a gas tank with a valve that you can open up or shut, and then you got that little hole that you're trying to pump gasoline in, and gasoline is going in by the quart and coming out by the gallons on the bottom. And so I don't know that anybody gets that. I mean, maybe some of you will have a light bulb moment now and go, hey, I get it. I see why pastors burn out, why people have to guard their energy and conserve it and be careful and meter it out. Otherwise, you just implode you just implode. You just turns you inside out, right? And so my tears lately, I'm starting to think maybe, well, there's no doubt about it. It's easier to let go of Catherine the woman than it is to let go of Catherine the disciple. And I guess I've done a bad thing because I told her I wouldn't help her, I wouldn't talk to her, I wouldn't guide her, I wouldn't help her figure this thing out that she's fighting. These changes that she needs to go through. And so I'm not being misconstrued. I'd like to hear from her. I'd like to continue to try to help her from a distance if I can. And I regret being mean that way and telling her I wouldn't help her. I can't help anybody financially. I can't help myself right now, right? I'm just barely making it through, but not because I don't have the opportunity. It's because all of this has just dragged me down so much, and I'm not sleeping. I'm low energy. I just spend too much time cooking in my own brain, right? Boiling in my own juice. So, this is now called the Crying Channel. Welcome to crying.com. Sage Wonder, the chief crier. I can't help it. I've always been this way. And let me remind you of the sage prophecies. And for people who haven't seen that video, it's been back. It's old, right? It's one of the older videos. But my mom, when her story has conceived me, but I actually think I was an accident. But when she found out she was pregnant, and she said she knew that it was going to be a boy, and that she was afraid that I would be like the old Marine, that I would be heartless and tough and, unshakable. And also, my sister, who was the church piano player at the time, was growing up and getting boy crazy. And so they needed a piano player. My parents would plan ahead, right? And so they prayed. My mom prayed this prayer, and my dad said they prayed it together. That um, as long as I was healthy and well, they didn't care about anything else. They just wanted a boy who was going to have a soft heart, a compassionate heart, and play the piano. And if you had to put something on my tombstone, it'd be that, I reckon. I'm a compassionate and soft-hearted man who plays the hell out of a piano. So that's the rest of the story. That's all that matters. When you get through something, and I'm getting through it, right? Can't go around it, can't go over it, can't go under it. You got to go through it. So, but as the smoke clears, so to speak, that's my big regret. I failed. I couldn't separate the man from the leader. And if I was to want a second chance with Catherine, my primary regret, like I said, is that I wasn't a better leader. And she's somebody that needs somebody like me. And I know some of you are going to say, well, that's somebody else's job now. And I'm just telling you, you don't know my orders. You don't know how God works with me. You're starting to see it. I don't work from behind a pulpit. I don't even work on this phone on the internet, really. This is almost like a side thing. I get to know people, and I cover them up in love, and I give them compassion. And sometimes the people I'm romantically involved with or interested in, and because I'm not an official pastor and I don't have a church, I'm just kind of like a guru, like a spiritual leader. I help people figure out their stuff. Some of that has to do with like spiritual warfare, which I did learn from a very specialized sect of exorcists within the charismatic movement with the Catholic connection. The counseling and conversational therapy that I learned while being a trained pastor, and prayer. But when you are dealing with somebody who has issues that directly affect their relationship, right, and you're in a relationship with that person, it gets sticky, complicated, quick. But I've been able to handle it. But I got to say, it usually never ends up happily ever after for me. But it is quite effective. And I got to say, I don't want to say this because I don't want to jinx it. I know that's a silly thing to say, but I was about to say something, but I didn't want to. I'll just say that every person, whether they were a friend or a romantic partner or a wife or a family member, anybody that God put me on to help them, They will all tell you, and some of them were bandmates. Yeah, I just never knew when God was going to use me to get really up and personal and intimate in the spiritual way, like intimate in the conversational way, not nothing sexual, but when you have that moment of connection with somebody, God uses my gifts and talents and my willingness to let him talk through me to say just the right things. And you've heard a lot of stories. Have you ever heard the story about the guy that I didn't even know anything of, never been to his house, didn't know, never been in his bedroom, and he was contemplating suicide and hadn't told anyone, and God told me that he was going to kill himself. And I just kind of opened my mouth and let God speak through me. And I said a few things. I was along the lines of, you're not going to find the peace you seek. And you're going to find the peace you seek at the place you lost it, at the foot of the cross. When you open up the door and let Jesus in, that's when you'll find the peace. When you start to talk to God again, that's when you find your peace. You won't find your peace in that shotgun in your closet. Or I think I did a list back. I was like, you won't find that peace in a bottle of whiskey. You won't find that peace rolled up in a doobie. You won't find that peace in an orgy. You'll find that peace. You won't find that peace in that shotgun in your closet. And I'm retelling this story, but it's okay. I'm allowed, right? I'm my own boss. But when I revealed that piece of information that I had no way of knowing, it's just while I was talking, God showed me the shotgun in his closet. Now, I was talking to him and his wife, and I have a long history of helping couples deal with their stuff and work things out with each other. And if I wanted to go back to school, make it official, and get the right certification, I could be a marriage and family counselor, no problem. But I do it guerrilla style, right? I just do it. I help people work out their stuff. It's not official. No money changes hands. It's just what a guy like me does for his friends. And that's what it really boils down to. I don't go out looking for people. I just go living my life and people emerge. Like Catherine, who just came into my, as I call her, Hurricane Katrina. She just came in like a flood, right? Bowled me over in every way. And, but, when I revealed that to that man, that he had a shotgun in his closet and that I knew it, and he knew I hadn't been in his house. His wife was standing there and she says, "You have a gun in the house?" She was not gun friendly, right? She was a leftist, old school, real liberal. Wouldn't call her a leftist these days. She wasn't crazy or anything, but she didn't like having a gun in the house. It made her nervous. And she said, she's elbowing me. She's like, "Do you have a gun in our house?" She was upset. Her main concern was getting the gun out of the house, right? But the look on his face, and she looked at me and she said, "How did you know that? How come he knows there's a gun in my house and I don't know there's a gun in my house?" And he looks at me in the eye and he goes, "Yeah, how do you know there's a shotgun in my closet?" And I said, "You know how I know just as well as I do." And he just went pale white because he realized that the Holy Spirit was speaking through me. And God knew about the shotgun in his closet, right? So that's just one of the stories. And I was in a band with this guy. And we were drunk when it happened. Standing out behind the bar. It was 3 o'clock in the morning, right? Him and his wife were swingers and in an open relationship. They were just as, you would look at them and go, why would God even care? That's the difference between God and Christians. That's the difference between Jesus and Christians. Jesus cares. He cares about every last one of us. Every drug addict. Every suicidal person. Every self-destructive person. Every mean person. You see what my mom did to me when she prayed this in? She gave me the heart of God. I'm not saying I'm just saying I feel people's pain. And when you have empathy and you feel someone's pain, you want to help them. And no amount of being dragged through the mud, kicked in the groin, slapped. I've been hurt by people I was trying to help my whole life. It's like my calling. It's frustrating. It's painful. It causes a lot of tears. I'm not weak. God's not weak, and he loves like this. So I'm going to make this channel about what I do from now on. God gave me a handful, two specific doctrinal concepts, but a handful of doctrinal concepts and tools. I have a toolbox of customized tools that God put in my hand that I have used to help people down through the years. Now, you better have a tough skin and empathy. It's just not fun, but somebody's got to do it, right? And God has called me to reveal to you the nuts and bolts of what I believe and how I do and what I do so that you can do them. And I started this last spring. But what happened is I looked, I've got prophetic gifts. I'm astute. I'm an astute watcher, and this is how I can almost predict the future sometimes. Well, everybody else's future, right? But I waited out last spring, and I said to myself, because I've been 2 years celibate, 2 years living like a monk in a cabin alone by myself, seeking God. You people that think I don't know God, when I said I reconnected with Jesus, people thought I was backslid. Now I'm saved again. No, I just meant I took time to commune with him. I've been on the payroll. I've been on God's payroll since I started this stupid channel. I've been on God's payroll, honestly, since the day I was born. I was fed by your offerings as a child. I'm a product of the church. The church is broken. Someone has to do the work. The church system is broken. It doesn't work anymore. I think there's going to be a handful of people that hang with me through this because it's controversial. I have a different opinion of morality. Haven't you figured it out yet? You've been watching me a long time. I'm not without morals. I just have a different set of values. And it's because I learned the truth. So some things are going to happen on this channel. I told you the truth about what the enemy is planning. I told you the truth about the coming famine that we're all about to experience. I told you the truth about the evil say or way, right? That we're kind of in the middle of and is just going to get worse. I even knew about the big sickness. I just didn't want to think about it. And I didn't think they'd do it. But I knew it was in their toolbox. So in a way, I predicted that one too. I just didn't talk about it because what you gonna do? That's something that doesn't really have a solution. The fear of illness is powerful and it extends across all human beings, right? If you don't think so, even before all this, you could walk into an office and sneeze and everybody would start covering their face up and walking away from you. Nobody wants to get sick, right? So some things are going to happen on this channel. I'm going to reveal these doctrinal points. So one side of this is going to seem very Christian, very spiritual. I hesitate to call myself a Christian because I do not believe what these churches are selling. But really, they're the ones that stole the name. They're not really Christians because they don't do the things that Christ told them to do. They don't forgive. They don't turn the other cheek. They don't walk the extra mile. If someone asks them for help, they don't. If someone asks them for their coat, they don't give them their shirt too. They don't treat other people the way they like to be treated. I mean, these are all Jesus teachings. Everyone's all focused on Jesus as a sacrifice while ignoring pretty much everything he said. The modern world, and the church included, ignores, shines on everything Jesus cared about and spoke about and preached about while he walked this earth. And they pile in there on Easter and celebrate his the end of his life while ignoring the rest of his life. So that's going to be going on. And the other thing is, knowing what I know, adopting these doctrines changes people. I have shared what I'm about to share on this channel one-on-one with people, and in the end, they reach enlightenment. That's the best way to put it. Like, they really finally get God, and all of the cognitive dissonance that is dissonance, yes, cognitive dissonance, which is caused by um, it's a result of religion, right? All of that disappears in the end, but at first it kind of looks like a train wreck. So many of you are going to start tuning out. You're going to start tuning out because no matter how logically I lay this out, at first on the surface, it's going to seem crazy. It's going to seem, this can't be right. I'm going to be called an instrument of the devil. I'm going to be attacked by the church. My reputation is going to be shredded as best they can. They're going to be so angry at me, church people. People that don't even watch the channel now are going to get all bent out of shape about what I'm about to start talking about. And the only people on the left that are going to get bent out of shape really are the feminists. Feminists are not going to like me. They already don't like me, but now they're going to really come after me. And I'm going to start talking about how the breakdown of the family, the breakdown of marriages, the attack against I wouldn't even label them Christian morals, basic human existence, right? The war on everything from gender to the sexual revolution, all of this was part of this big grandiose plan that we're now seeing play out before us. And feminism, just like the church, just like the government, were huge tools in creating the chaos that we now have. So I'm going to start revealing my true self to you, because one of the problems with dating a viewer is that they don't really know who I am. They do, and yet they don't. Nothing I'm presenting to you on this channel is a false version of me. It's just not a complete version of me. And it shouldn't be. Some things are meant to be private. However, it's time for me to walk the walk, not just talk the talk. That I preach total truth. I preach total transparency. I recommend to all couples total honesty, total openness, and there not being any secrets, no unspoken feelings, no harbored bitterness. That for a relationship to work, it has to be 100% honest. And that's the thing I can't get. That's one of the things I can't get people to do in my relationships. And one of the reasons I get so hurt is I engage in total honesty while receiving a version of the truth. So I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. It's time you guys knew the real Sage Wanderer. I've hinted to it. Some people knew. Catherine had a pretty good idea when she showed up, because she's smart, like really, really smart. I really miss your mind, Catherine. I do. Yeah, enough of that. So it's time for me to tell you the things about me that are uncomfortable to talk about. And not just for personal therapy, and not even just to put my money where my mouth is, but I'm going to give you a contrast. I'm going to release these doctrines to you about marriage and relationships. And now I can hear it already, the keyboard warriors. Sage, you're just a train wreck when it comes to relationships. What do you know about relationships? Well, while becoming a train wreck, I've learned a lot. Fathom that. Don't consider that. Who's a better person to tell you where we're making mistakes than someone who has openly walked in and done things that people say are stupid to experience the mistakes? So now I know better. I literally know better. I found a better way. The problem is, because of the aforementioned cultural doctrine that we're just going to call effinism, because that has such an ingrained, powerful control, almost a hypnotic control over men and women, because it's permeated the culture to a point where they don't even know that's what it is. It's just the culture, the new way, right? That they cannot see, they cannot do the basic things it takes to set the wheels in motion to make what I call the formula work. I'm going to present something to you called the formula. The formula is a method that can, and I'm going to put it out there, it will, to the men, I will say this. If you're tired of a woman who's always giving you issues and troubles and difficulties, and it just seems like there's a bunch of you guys out there, a lot of you guys that are being ugly to me, that have left or whatever, and you don't like what I'm saying, you're the people that could benefit most from this. Would you like a woman that makes pleasing you her central priority in life? What man wouldn't? I can hear the women groaning now. I don't have a lot of women followers, but I suspect that's the big change. Most of you who unsubscribe will be men, and most of you who subscribe will be women. And my demographic is about to flip on this channel. This is what God showed me. When I do this, there's probably going to be a lot more ladies around here, because they're going to be interested in hearing what I have to say. And some of them are going to be angry because they don't like what I have to say. But ultimately, there's a whole generation now of women, Catherine's age, who did everything the culture told them to do. They brought home the bacon and fried it up in a pan. And they never let the man forget he's a man, because she's a woman in her roar. They did all that, and it didn't bring them happiness. Now many of them are alone or childless and alone. They don't have a family. They're not a matriarch. They got a lot of broken relationships and divorces in their past. I'm not telling anything on Catherine, because all you got to do is poll the women on the street, her age, and they all got the same damn story. It's just varying degrees, right? So there is another way for men to get what they want and women to get what they want. So what do women want? Men, I've been hearing you ask this eternal question, what do women want? And women will all say the same thing. They want to be loved, honored, cherished. They want to be respected. They want their voices heard, right? And they want to know a man won't put himself ahead of their needs. So what they really want is a sacrificial love. I'm about to preach the sermon. I'm going to stop short of it and just say that women, if you do the thing that I'm going to suggest that you do, you're going to get everything you ever wanted. You think fighting a man is and being contentious and sticking up for yourself and sticking to your guns and being a strong woman is the thing that's going to get you what you want. And this is going to be one of the hard things to swallow. That'll never get you what you want. It leads to where you found yourself. And men, if you want to tell the truth, men would just love to have a woman that adored them so much that they just went out of their way to find better ways of making them happy. Went online and found recipes to make better meals. Read books on massage to give them better back rubs. Right? If men are being honest, read the Kama Sutra so they know what they're doing. But if a woman will do the thing, the one thing, it's a simple thing. It's really just one word. They'll do that one thing. They'll get everything they want out of a man. And they won't even have to ask. And men, if you follow through, right, with what will happen to you, I don't want to give it away. Something will happen to you if you experience this, because it happened to me. And that's one of the reasons I'm so busted up. I never found a woman that wanted to try the formula until I met Catherine. She tried. It's not easy. It should be easy because of cultural programming and brainwashing and just a lifetime of hearing lies until you think they're the truth. It's hard to see the truth when it's staring you in the face. So maybe I'll meet somebody someday. Maybe one of you who hear this message will try it. I feel like that this thing, the formula in particular, when I release it, that in particular is going to, someone else will take that and run with it. They'll probably eat the fruit from the tree that I planted, right? So, running low on time here. I don't want the phone to cut off before because I only have so much time I'm allowed to record on with this phone. So, the other thing is it's a heretical. The other thing I want to talk about, which is applicable to all people who've been burned by the church, all people who love Jesus but don't necessarily buy all the rest of it. It may be the most liberating and freeing doctrine you've ever come across. It'll take a load off your shoulders. It'll transform the way you think about church, the way you think about God, the way you think about your relationship with God. It's life transforming. But life transformation can be violent. It can be tumultuous. It can be ground moving and earth shattering. So most of you have so much religious training and so you've been warned against guys like me, us heretics, that you're going to tune out. You may turn on me. I'm prepared for all of that. I expect the channel to be decimated by both of these topics. I expect people to just leave in droves. The old Sage Wanderer is dead, right? The old channel is dead. This is the new thing. This is my marching orders from God. I've held this self-destruct package in my hand since I broke 10,000 subscribers. Because I'm also going to reveal the true me, my true history. You will see the effects of both of these doctrines and discovering them and how it changed who I am. And you'll finally understand how I ended up in a van down by the river. I teased you enough. I'm going to roll this out as best I can while holding my life together because I'm working full time. But I'm under orders from God. I got a new person that I'm working with. I hope that continues to thrive because changing lives, not just with this message, but I'm not dumping the traditional message of the church. I'm just saying that the church of today has got the wrong part of the message. And the part of the message that's important for today is being thrown out like a baby with the bathwater. We'll see you next time. You're going to want to watch this channel over the next 2 or 3 months because it's going to be riveting, I believe. And you're going to love me or hate me. And it's going to get flooded with new people that love me. And then that's when my real work starts. We'll see you next time.